Hey guys, Miss Marian here. We're going to go ahead and look at Unit 1, Notes 10. We are going to graph inequalities now, okay? So before we were graphing things y equals mx plus b, but now we're going to graph inequalities. So you're going to have y greater than less than, all those mx plus b. Okay, so let's look at some of those examples. Here is what you're going to do. So your first couple steps are all the same, okay? Is your equation slope-intercept form. So basically, is the y alone? If it's not, you got to get it there. What's your starting point? What's your b value? From your starting point, how do you move? Now, the difference is the type of line. Before, we always had a solid line, okay? This time, we could have a dash. So if you see a sign that has the equal to, so one of those two, you're going to have a solid line. If you see anything that does not have the equal to, then you're going to have a dashed line. So you just have to determine that is going to be a difference. And on your quiz, you will lose a point if you have the wrong type of line. Then you're going to check, does my graph look correct? Just like before, is your slope positive? Then it should be increasing. If it's negative, then it should be decreasing. And then we have to do some shading, okay? So basically what you're going to do is you're going to find your test point. We usually plug in 0, 0. If 0, 0 is makes it a true statement, then we shade the half that includes 0, 0. If it is not a true statement, then we shade the other half. Okay, so let's look at those examples and see kind of what that all means in an actual problem. So here's the first one I have. Y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 3. First thing I already see is my graph is in y equal, or my equation's in y equal mx plus b. So I can begin with my b. So I'm going to begin at 1, 2, 3. And I can move with my m. I'm going to make that a fraction, so I'm going to go down to positive 1. Okay, hopefully you're feeling really good with graphing at this point because we've done that for a couple of lessons now. So now I'm going to look at my sign. It has the extra equal to underneath. It's less than or equal to. That tells me it's going to be a solid line that I have. So I can draw in my solid line like I normally have been. Now I'm going to check to see my slope is negative, so I should be decreasing. That's a true statement. Now we have to try the point 0, 0. So here is this point 0, 0. It's right here. Actually, let me do a different color for that. Here's the point 0, 0. So when I plug 0, 0 into the equation, the point is 0, 0. That means my x is 0 and my y is 0. So I'm going to have 0 is less than or equal to negative 2 times 0 plus 3. So I'm going to do this. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is going to give me 3. Is the bigger number being eaten? Yes, the 3 is being eaten, right? The 3 is the bigger number. So this is a true statement. Since it's a true statement, I'm going to shade the side that includes the point that I had, which was 0, 0. So this is all what I'm going to be looking for when I'm doing an equality or inequality. Let's look at example number 2 here. I need it to be in slope-intercept form, so I have to move that x over first. So I'm going to have negative 2y is greater than negative 3x minus 6. I'm going to divide everything by negative 2. So I'm going to have y is greater than negative 3 divided by negative 2 is going to give me 3 over 2. X, negative divided by negative is going to give me positive 3. So I'm going to begin up at 3 and move positive 3 over 2. Positive 3 over 2. And I'm going to do the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3 over 2. 1, 2, 3 over 2. So now I'm going to determine my line. I do not have the extra equal to under there. So this is actually going to end up being a dashed or a dotted line. Okay. And now I'm going to find that 0, 0 that I had. So here's my 0, 0. We're going to plug in 0 is greater than 3 halves times 0 plus 3. So this tells me 0. 3 halves times 0 is 0. Is the bigger number being eaten? In this situation, it is not. It is a false statement. Okay, 0 is not greater than 3. So if it's false, you do not want the side that you tested. You want the opposite side. So I'm going to have all of that shaded in, and there's my inequality. What you're finding is all of these points over here that we have shaded in, work, if I plugged that x and that y in, it would make it a true statement. And that's what I'm looking for, true statements. Let's go ahead and look at this example here. I want to get the y alone, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So I'm going to have negative 2y is greater than negative 3x minus 6. I'm going to divide everything by negative 2. So I'm going to have y. Now remember, when you divide by a negative, we have to flip that inequality sign. So I have 3 over 2x plus 3. So I'm going to begin up at 3. And I'm still going to go up 3 over 2. And then opposite of up 3 over 2 is down 3 and to the left 2. Looking at that inequality does not have the equal sign, so this is going to be a dashed line for me. And now I have to test that 0, 0 point. So this is the point that I am going to test right here. So I'm going to plug in 0 is less than 3 over 2 times 0 plus 3. So I get 0 is less than 3. The alligator is eating the bigger number, so that's a true statement. So I want to include the side that I tried. I want to include the dot that I made because it's a true statement. Okay, example number 3 here. We want to get that y alone. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 10 to both sides. So plus 10. So I'm going to have negative 4x plus 10 is less than 2y. Divide everything by 2. So negative 2x plus 5. So I can begin with my b, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and move with my m down 2 over 1. Okay, you can do this over and over and over again. Up 2 over 1 is the opposite direction. If I look at that inequality right there, it does not have the equal to sign under it, so it's going to be a dotted line. My slope is negative, so it should be decreasing, which it is. So now we're going to plug in that 0.00, so negative 2 times 0 plus 5. So we want to go ahead, oops, sorry, that should not be a y. That should be a 0. So negative 2 times 0, 0 plus 5, 5. Is the bigger number being eaten? In this situation, it is not. So I tested this point here, and it was false. So since it is false, I don't want to include that point that I tested. I want the other side. And there's my inequality. Yay, we got some fractions happening. So we want to go ahead and we're going to distribute this first. So I'm going to have y minus 11 is greater than or equal to 3 halves x. Now to do this, I'm going to do 3 times 6, so 18, divided by 2 gives me that negative 9. So now we'll get the y alone. We're going to add 11 to both sides. So now I'm going to begin at 2, and I'm going to move up 3 over 2, up 3 over 2. Opposite of up 3 is down 3. Opposite of the right is left. So now I have my line. If I look at that inequality, it has an equal to sign. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have a solid line when I graph. And now we are going to plug that 0, 0 in. So here's that point I'm going to try. 0 is greater than 3 over 2 times 0 plus 2. So that gives me 0 is greater than 2. Again, that is a false statement. So I want to shade the side that is not that I tested, not including that point I tested. All right, last example here. We want to get the y alone. So I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. So I have negative 4y is greater than 3x minus 12. Divide by negative 4 every piece. So I'm going to get y. Since we divided by a negative, we are going to flip the sign, which is going to be negative 3 over 4x plus 3. So I'm going to start up at 3. Now negative 3 tells me to go down 3 and over 4. Down 3 and over 4. Opposite of down 3 and to the right 4 is up 3 and to the left 4. Looking at the inequality, there's no equal sign, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have this as a dotted line. And now let's check that 0, 0 point. So here's 0, 0. If I plug it in, I get 0 is less than negative 3 over 4 times 0 plus 3. So I end up with 0 is less than 3. So if the alligator is eating the bigger number, that is a true statement. And I'm going to include the side that I tried since it is a true statement. Okay, so that was Unit 1 Practice 10. The hardest part about all of this, I think, is making sure that we are shading the correct side. So if you have any questions on that, please make sure you come up and chat with me before moving on to the assignment. Good luck.